everybody. Welcome back to Beacon in the Storm. I'm your host, Dr. Bradford Carlton, and today I have a very special guest with us. I have Miss Rejeana Jackson, chairman of the Klamath County, Oregon Republican Party. Hi there, Rejeana. How are you doing today?
Oh, thank you so much for having me on your program, Brad. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I truly appreciate it. How's the weather up there today? Down here in Las Vegas, it's 115.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's beautiful. Klamath Falls is known for their summers. They're just beautiful and mild, and it's a wonderful opportunity to spend some more time with your kids.
Fantastic. Now, Rejeana, why don't we begin by you just telling us a little bit about yourself and then kind of how you got involved in the party, and then we can go from there, all right?
Sure, absolutely. So I am a very happily married to my husband for the past 10 years. We have three beautiful children. We've got an 8-year-old, 7-year-old, and soon to be 5-year-old. And we've been living here in Klamath for about the past 6 years. And I grew up here, and my husband and I moved back up we are now California transplants, and very happy to be back in Southern Oregon. And in terms of my involvement in the Republican Party, I've been a lifelong Republican, always been conservative, but I only really paid attention to politics every 2 to 4 years, like most people. And so I would do my due diligence and my civic duty and go to the polls and vote. And it wasn't until 2020 that politics really got my attention, as it did with most people. I didn't quite know what the role of a governor was until 2020. And then, we thought that it was just, the person would show up for ribbon cuttings of, events. And no, the governor can shut your state down. And so when it caught my attention as a stay-at-home mom, 3 little kids, was when they closed down our private Christian school. And then the next was when they closed down our house of worship. And so then they had my attention, as I'm sure they had the attention of many other unsuspecting parents that were at home. So that's when I got involved. I signed up with our local Republican Party, became a precinct committee person, which I highly recommend. That's an opportunity to represent and keep your neighborhood informed. So all of our neighborhoods are divvied up into precincts, and you have an opportunity to represent your precinct. So highly recommend that. So that's where I started. And then within a couple of months, elected to be secretary of the party, and then served my term there. And then I just became chairwoman of our Klamath County Republicans at the end of 22. So it's just been really exciting, a kind of wild ride. If anyone's been following politics the past couple of years, especially politics in Oregon, it's a little crazy, but we are trying to keep our nice conservative county as it should be, kind of working independently of what's happening up in Portland.
Absolutely. Now, the focus on the show, specifically our audience, is mostly men. And so the next question is about men. And I'd like to know from your perspective, because I don't think only men should be allowed to talk about men. So from your perspective, what does it mean to be a man?
Oh my gosh, and this is a topic that is near and dear to my heart. So not only am I married to a wonderful man, but we have 2 small boys who are going to grow up to be great masculine men. And what does it mean to be a man? So if we look to the Bible and what God has instructed us, to walk in His image, and He specifically set up man to be a provider, a protector of the family, and a provider, and the head of the household. And as a wife, we submit to that. And I know oftentimes women look at, especially when you technically religious, which not religion. I have a relationship with God, and we look to submission as something that's a negative, but it truly isn't. We all have our God-given roles, and to have a man who is at the helm of the ship of family and is protecting and providing, it takes something off the mother and the wife's plate. That we don't have to worry about who is going to provide for us, because we know that our husbands are following the Lord and we are following our husbands. And it is critical. You can tell from what's going on in my state and across the country, in the world, actually, what happens when we don't celebrate and support masculine males. when we don't, confirm their place in the family, when we don't respect them properly. And that's what, and really what it is, it comes down to respect. And I don't know if you're familiar with, there's actually a self-help, a Christian self-help seminar that's called Love and Respect. And what it says is it comes down to women want love and men want respect. And it sounds so simple, but it's so true. And if we stop to respect the men in our lives and respect the men in our community, we will see that we are serving them as we should serve God, and that comes back to the submission portion of it. And it is so critical that we have fathers involved in their lives, that we, that we celebrate them for what key component they have. It's all the pieces of the puzzle must fit together to have a successful country, a successful family. And the big piece of that puzzle is having a man involved, and celebrating men, and then rearing your children, rearing your sons to understand what their place is in this world. It's critical because we've seen, basically our lives are over. What we're doing is we're focusing on creating that legacy, that handprint that we're going to have on future generations. And we're doing that by raising strong sons.
I like to think I have a few years left myself. So what I'm hearing is not just the P word provider, but also a partner.
Yes.
Is that a good way of describing it?
It really is a partner in everything. And, I've actually found during times of crisis we've had the past couple of years, that the partnership I have with my husband has grown even stronger. And so I think, taking a look at the family unit, and having mothers and fathers spend as much time together as possible and as much time with their children as possible is key. And you want that partner in life. It is almost like a little business. My background is in business and management, and you need to have the CEO, you need to have the HR department, you need to have the CFO, and so looking at it is absolutely a partnership, because if you can see in a lot of broken families or broken processes in some of these cities, it's the absence of a father. A mom can't do it on her own. I know a lot of strong women out there, but you can't replace that nuclear family. You can't replace that traditional family and that partnership.
It's funny you bring that up, because my wife was the one who's like, I'm never going to do the wait till your father gets home thing. And it's almost once a week. Just you wait until Papa gets home. He's going to set you straight. I'm like, okay, I guess I have to now.
Hey, sometimes it works, and we've got to use all the tools in our tool belt, right?
Mm-hmm. Now, you bring up the Bible and faith-based. Why is faith so important, and specifically for men? Why do you think today faith is so important?
I think because we've steered away from God in the school, and even in government and in workplaces. I think what's lacking is a critical firm foundation, and that's for everybody, not just men. But I think men in particular, because we have either lowered the bar, so where we're not expecting them to stand up if they become a father, that you need to marry the woman, or you need to spend time in your son's life. It's so key that that there is a firm foundation in the Lord, because people will fail you. Your family will fail you. Your friends will fail you. It's inevitable. People are sinners, and they will always be sinners. But God will always be with you during the tough times. I know, in our family personally through loss, and we've always been able to rest easy in the relationship with the Lord, and know that in those dark times, He's there. He is with you. And I always tell my children that, God is everywhere, but He's not everything. So know that you always have a best friend with you that you can tell anything to. And, creating that firm foundation when men are young, they will be able to then build upon that foundation their own home. because it is like it says on the Bible, it's not built on sand, it's not built on rubble, it is built on that firm foundation, and from that can come miraculous.
Absolutely. Now, my audience is men mostly age 18 to 35. And so they may be out of the home, they may be on their own, and they may never have been exposed to anything like this. What advice do you have for them if they're looking to find Jesus?
Oh my gosh, he will find you. I know for me personally, he was knocking at my door for a long time. So I grew up in a very secular home, and it wasn't until the age of 37 that I had my first, encounter, or one where I was really paying attention where God was knocking at my door. And that's when I lost my own father. And with his passing, it was in that instant that it sparked something in me, and I truly believe that was my interaction with the Spirit. Is that was saying, what is beyond this? This can't be all that we're supposed to do. And it was in that moment that I felt that I needed to research and find, go down that rabbit hole of what are we here for? What were we meant to do? And then I said, oh, I remember. Let me go look in the Bible. Let me, go. So it was more of a information seeking. It wasn't a religion by any means, but what I have found has been so incredible. So, I think that searching for it, you can always, attend services in your community. I would just take a look at your life and see the areas that you're really struggling, and you profess to him, you repent, you ask for his guidance, and he will give it to you. Hands to God. He did it for me. I struggled with addiction for decades, and tried every trick in the book to alleviate that addiction, and nothing worked. And it was tearing apart my family, and it was tearing apart my health. And I got down on my knees and I prayed. I prayed through tears, and I asked for his forgiveness. And he gave it to me and took it away like that. And I've never been so thankful. And so I just recommend to your viewers that you look at the areas in your life where you are struggling, where you are trying to fit that square peg in a round hole, and you ask him for guidance, and he will give it to you. I promise.
I love hearing that. That is beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Now, Rejeana, let's talk a little bit politics if we can. Um, why is you decided to be a conservative, but why conservatism? Why is it so much better than liberalism?
Well, I'm sure you've heard this funny saying before. I think it's Winston Churchill that everyone's a liberal in their 20s, and if you're not a liberal in your 20s, you don't have a heart, and if you're not a conservative in your 40s, then you don't have a brain. And so mine actually came from, I'm a conservative because my father was conservative, and growing up, it was a way that we could connect, and a way that we could understand each other. When it was a little challenging to connect to my father, who was a little stoic and didn't talk very much, but he could talk about politics, and so we connected over many hours of listening to Rush Limbaugh over our lunches, and we're able to talk about current events of the day and how it impacted kid. And so in the values, I know growing up that my parents had Democrat friends, so we didn't really have to work in the world, but and there wasn't really much daylight between them. There was, everyone loved this country. Everyone supported the traditional family, Second Amendment. It just wavered on little social issues, welfare programs and things like that. But we all wanted the same thing and all believed in the same thing. We were all God fearing and anti-abortion and all those things. And so, what's happened in the world in the past 25, 30 years since then can only be a spiritual warfare. It can only be from the darkness. It can only be from Satan, because what has been aligned with the Democratic Party, I'm sure even Democrats don't understand. Some of it is inexplicable to what they want to push. There are different types of agendas that they want to push. So I would say, as a Christian, the conservative values line up pretty on par Now, I'm fully aware that there are, negative sides to both. So I'm by no means saying that Republicans are saints or without fault. Right? We're all human. But the conservative values, traditional family and protection, and a God-led life, those are conservative values that line up the most with, I think, a future. It just seems to me that the other side, you just don't have much of a future if you're killing babies and tearing apart families.
Sure. Now, on springboarding off of that, it really seems that the Democratic Party is just trying to buy people off. They're constantly trying to just give, give, give. What does the Republican Party have to offer?
Yes, well, we're certainly not in the business of buying votes or having deceased people vote or anything like that. So what we have to offer, so I have a great example of this. So here in our county, we have signed up for just about every summer event it is. We've gone to every fair, parade, um, 4-H auction, whatever is going on. So, and we're tying into the community. And what we have on the conservative side is a passion for this country, a passion for freedom, a passion for contentment. It is what it is. And I was actually talking to someone about this, is that conservatives are content and want to conserve what we have and preserve. And I think that's the main difference that we have with where it's going with the Democratic Party, is that there just doesn't seem to be a love for country or for community that wants to be preserved, wants to be torn down or remade in some other image. And really, bringing it back to the Bible again is whose image is that? What are they trying to recreate? So it really takes you back to the days of Sodom and Gomorrah, and then the days of Lot, and the whole reason why we had the flood in the first place. That you can't try to push through with destruction and pain and suffering and just try to buy people off. So with the Conservative Party, there's a chance for hope. If you look at being a Republican in a very, very super majority blue state like Oregon, you're going to see you have people with a lot of hope and a lot of faith, because it takes a lot of grit to be a Republican in Oregon. But it's some of the most passionate and positive and hardworking people I've met.
Well, you say that, but isn't most of the state fairly red?
Interesting. Yes, it actually is. So if you look at where our voting lines by county, Trump won this state in 2020. He absolutely did. But the problem is that you take it down to population. So you have Multnomah County or Washington County, and that's where your population lies. So it kind of begs the question, why don't we have an electoral college in our state? Because you're having some of the same issues. Just like we have at the federal level, we are outweighed by our heavier populated counties.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got basically 3 cities that are the deciding factor in the entire state.
Right, Rejeana, this has been an absolutely fantastic interview. I truly thank you for coming on and sharing the word with us. Before we wrap up, do you have any final thoughts you want to share, or anything else you want to share with my audience?
Absolutely. I would just like to pray for you, Bradford. This is such an amazing opportunity to delve into a niche that has not been given enough media. And I just have to thank you so much as the mother of 2 little boys that are grown up in this world and could use, a good media to look forward to. So I just have to thank you for doing this. It's going to be hugely impactful, and I'll be praying for you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I'm sure this isn't a typical political interview you're used to, huh?
No, it's actually one of my favorites. It involves all my favorite things.
All right. Now, before we wrap up, if anybody wanted to reach out to you, how can they do that?
Absolutely. So I am available through email. My email address is REJEANAROB as in boy, EY @yahoo.com. And you can also reach us on our Klamath County Republicans website, klamathrepublicans.org.
All right. Rejeana Jackson, thank you so much for coming on with us today. We truly appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
And for everybody else, I'm going to remind you all, keep looking for the light in the tempest. God will show you the way.